Hi, welcome back to Off the Wall with GPW Mural Paints. If you're with us last week, we spoke with Alice Mizrahi, New York-based artist, about her work internationally, as well as her show that just opened up last weekend, The Divine Moment. Go back to follow AM_NYC to see her page, her updates, and learn more about her show. You can also find our interview from last week under the IGTV tab and all of our previous interviews. Today, thank you for tuning in. We are very excited to speak with Mark DeCracker of Mural Mania. In just a few moments, Mark will be joining us, covering his, over 2 decades of work with Mural Mania. Mark is someone who actually we would consider a local. He is based out of Lyons, New York. He is completing several projects. He has murals that spanned 85 miles along the Erie Canal. So I'm very excited to speak with him about community art, about working locally, working with the community, and his specific interest in sharing historic-based murals with the public. Give us just a moment as we wait for Mark to join. Hi, Mark.
Hello.
How's it going? Hi.
Good. Am I adjusted okay here?
Yes,
Can you see
absolutely.
okay?
Yes, and
Move
there's
this
one
here.
behind you now. Excellent. How's it going?
Great, good. Glad to be along today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Beat
What a
this
pleasure.
weather, that's for sure.
Absolutely, yes. We're in upstate New York, and finally we're getting a taste of spring. It's mid-60s today, which is wonderful for us.
Which brings up a good point, why you need a studio in upstate New York, so you can paint for 5 months of the year, and then you can go outside and we can start painting outside now in the public.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the amazing parts of your process we're going to talk about today is that you have this variety of working styles. And right now you can see behind you, you've been working on a mural in your studio all winter that you're preparing to install. So I'm really excited to hear more about that too.
Sure.
So to get us started, tell us about yourself, about Mural Mania, for those who might not be familiar with your organization.
Okay, well, I was president of the Chamber of Commerce in Lyons, New York in like 2005 or 6, and we were always looking for something to excite the neighbor, to get people to come to Lyons, New York. So
Yeah.
I had read where this community, Little Rock, Arkansas, was 245th in the nation in small cities. And then they started a mural program, they jumped to 45th. I go, wait a minute, we can do this. And along with Winston Dobbins, who handed me a postcard simultaneously at the same time, says, can you do murals in Lyons? This is from Athens, Canada. I said, sure. So we started this project and went to the schools because you always want to involve the youth into it. So we started the process in like 2006 of painting a mural. And we were lucky to pick an incredible scene, which depicts 3 different eras of the canal. It has, mules on the canal. It has our peppermint, which is huge in Lyons, and the trolley, which went from Syracuse to Rochester, started in 1906. And it was, can you imagine now if we had a trolley, you could just get on and get on your iPad and you could do all your work. But because of the car, the trolley went out of business. But we're going to honor all that amazing history in this first mural depicting this postcard. And so luckily we picked a good subject because that is like probably the iconic picture, a postcard of the Erie Canal. And it took us, we painted every Saturday throughout 2007, working with my good friend James Zeger. And we completed it and we installed it in what they call Clean Sleep, an Erie Canal Day where everybody goes out, cleans up the banks of the canal. Well, we put up a mural that day and we had probably like 45 people show up, high school kids, lifts and all sorts of cool stuff. And my good friend Noel was along with us then. And he was like so proud. He sat on the back fence and was, he said, someday we'll be world famous. And Noel was the passion that I have that drives me. Because we went on, Noel convinced his brother to put a mural on Dobbins Drugs, and then while the artists Corky and Chip were working, they looked across the street, said, hey, that would be cool. They're doing work on the dentist office. Let's put a mural there. And at the same time, I said, why don't we paint another mural kind of looking down our street, which is, quote, William, but it's kind of a main street of our community, and depict this scene from 100 years ago. And then so people can do kind of look now, then. So it has like we have the oldest theater in the United States, the Omen Theater. And that's in this mural, and along with the town clock and some of those iconic things in the community. So that was painted by James Eager. So we had three new murals, and we had a dedication, Step Back in Time. And so we had everybody dressed in Era clothing. So that was kind of cool. But just circling back to Winston's dream, Winston, the fellow who gave me the postcards, passed away, unfortunately, before he saw his dream come true. But we honored him when we we called this mural Winston's Dream, because it was his dream. And we had 250 people show up at that dedication on June 14th, happened to be Flag Day. We had all the kids in elementary school showed up singing God Bless America and 15 Miles on the Erie Canal. So because of that energy, other communities came up to me and said, how do we do this? And I'm always one that wants to make everybody succeed instead of having just your own little box that you succeed in, because we all rise together. And so all of a sudden the neighboring communities of Newark and then Clyde and then even to Jordan, New York, they reached out and says, let's do this mural program. So I was always trying to be there for encouraging them to do it. So and then we kind of skipped a couple years, and we started doing some more community-based murals where we involved students and even folks with developmentally disabled were painting with us. So it was totally an inclusionary activity, which I think is important. So we took a mural that was actually we did back in the 1990s to show the Erie Canal when I was with Erie's Restoration Interest. Everyone, well, 20 years in a plywood mural kind of fades. So we took it upon ourselves using golden artist color paints to repaint this mural with all sorts of, like I said, different ages. And that led to, hey, we still have these gaps. We have these other communities that don't have a mural. So why doesn't Mural Mania paint a mural for Macedon, paint a mural for Savannah? And so we did in that summer, or 2010. And we dedicated these. The important thing is when you do a mural, dedicate it. Recognize everybody that had something to do. I don't care if it's a person 5 years old all the way to 75. Recognize them, and always, of course, recognize golden artist colors, because
look at that representation. I love that.
You guys are just the best. And going back to Noel, he unfortunately passed away, and he saw the murals go up. He saw his second and three of the new murals go up, but he was in Rochester General on ICU, and he called Golden Paints and asked for a paint donation. You guys have been there for us ever since, and it's just an amazing story. So we started these trails, and then I started Googling, where's the longest mural trail in the world, and we've got it. So that led to us, and I had heard about the Global Mural Association. So I went to the first conference in 2010 in Georgia, and there's an incredible mural by Charlie Johnston that's like 100 feet in the air of a peanut silo, and Charlie's awesome, and hopefully he's listening today. But so they did this, and I was planting the seeds because I knew all along we got to make this dream come true. So then I attended the mural conference in 2014 in Sherbrooke, Quebec, but I came with a pile of letters of endorsement. I had both of our U.S. senators, Schumer and Gillibrand, endorsed. In fact, she had a special conference to promote that we wanted to host it, and that certainly had a lot of weight. And so we were honored to have the 2016 Global Mural Conference along the Erie Canal in Fairport, New York. So what was cool about that, I wish I could have joined in and helped and paint, but when you're coordinating something, you got all kinds of headaches you got to take care of.
But absolutely.
What was neat about that, we have 12 different murals all around a circle of an old tennis court under a tent, and people painted night and day. And we even had special needs, did their own special mural associated with it. And many of these are along this mural trail that I was sharing with you, like the Underground Railroad was done by students from Mural Community College, and the Declaration of Sentiments on Seneca Falls representing women's rights was done by Charlie Johnston. And Fairport has a mural done from a painter, a good friend of mine. So from, she's from Argentina, I think. But no, well, I get those countries mixed up, but fabulous representation of artists. We had China, it was just super. So then that happened, of course, got everybody excited again. So then in 2018, we had another community project working on the history of roses. See, that's the thing about...
I'm going to start a video so we can start looking along with some of this.
Okay, sure.
And you'll see in this video, they're captioned with those locations, with the rose murals you're speaking of in Newark and a couple in Lyons, and we'll even circle back to Winston's Dreams and talk about the Dipper Dredge at the end of the presentation.
Sure, sounds good.
So I'm teasing that, but also since you sent me some time-lapse videos, if we have time at the end of our interview, I'd like to show those as well. So just for everyone who's watching along with us can see, as we're speaking about these murals, visually what's involved and who's involved and where they are. Go on.
Okay, so getting to the, you want me to talk about the rose mural?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it's a working with my friend James Eager, and he had students along. So during the summer of 2018, we're painting under a bridge, and we had 500 bicyclists come on the second day. So it was just an awesome experience to see these bikers coming and going through and said, oh, we love this. Our favorite thing about our bike ride has been these murals, because you tell the story of where these communities originated from. Right now in the background, you see the Rose Garden. And that used to be the rose capital of the world. These murals represent, there was a parade that had 40,000 people come to, and we came up with this idea of floating a rose in the sky. Hopefully that's coming up now. And I had a
this
junior,
one, yeah, perfect
junior
timing.
high school, you can do this. And so they said, it's a 7x7 rows, and she painted this, and we hung it over a community that was kind of taken away through urban renewal. And it's something that I don't want to see happen. You got to honor all these incredible architecture of an old community. So we worked on painting that over. But here we are, the elephants. People go, there were elephants in a parade? I said, absolutely.
That's
Here
wild.
is the Urger. It's the oldest tugboat in the world. And I actually had a chance to ride that to New York City when I was doing Erie Canal restoration. And it shows the train that took coal to Sodus Point, which shipped to Canada. Here is a mural that we painted over with students and all kinds of people. That one's probably that's the oldest. That's probably 25 years old.
It was painted in 1990 and repainted in 2010. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And what you see here is the beginning of Winston's Dream. We had this dump. How can you, this is the Erie Canal, and you're throwing couches and tires and trees, and you can't even see the peppermint building, which is peppermint. We used to smell like pepper when you came into our community. So we cleaned this up with all kinds of volunteers. In fact, the guy with the backhoe there, he was working on this, and he with a broken neck. So when it came time to find somebody to put in the dentist chair mural, I said, put Ed Gantz in there, because he helped us when he had a broken neck. He couldn't even turn his back. Here we are with this high school students helping install the frame and putting up the mural. And it was like, as Noel said, it was a community victory. And I really believe that to this day. And here's one of the high school students painting on the mural here on Winston's Dream. So it's great to, then you meet all these people along your path, and they've become friends for a long time. And there's
such a community immersed involvement that I think is really central to the organization Mural Mania, because you started this in your own backyard as the leader of the Chamber of Commerce. And then what brings in the mania aspect is there was such an excitement. So the dedication of Winston's Dream, 250 people showed up after you had 150 people volunteering in their own community. And then other towns nearby along the Erie Canal see this excitement, and they say, how do we bring this to our community? And that's just grown and grown to the point where now you have 85 miles of murals.
And there's
From Syracuse to where?
Fairport, but it actually
Fairport.
goes on the other side of the city too. And because I'm reaching out to, speaking of the flag, we're working with the veterans soon, and we're going to work with veterans painting murals that are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And that one of those communities is we're going to fill another gap. So we're going to have 150 miles of murals soon along the Erie Canal. So here's one where
So it's growing. Yeah.
Yeah, here's one we're representing where nature meets history. Montezuma is a very important bird area where the migration of the birds, right, they're just starting now happen. And there's an Audubon Center there. That's downtown Syracuse. That's like 5 stories high. When you're driving along the highway, you can look over and see that.
Yeah, you can see this from 690.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible. So I
don't know
had
if
to share
anybody's
that
had
one
an accident
too.
yet, but it scares me when people start looking at murals a little bit. But I guess we're starting to work on is this a dipper dredge? Yes, here we go. So this was a mural, and you can see some of it. We always start out, we have to have references. So it happened to be painting in the fall. And hey, you know, let's work on this. Let's step this up into a nice fall, the brilliance of fall colors. Right here, it's a couple days after we started shadowing things in. We put a cornfield in. And then what you do is you lay your background in and you go back to the front. So the details come in like cows and things like that later. And what the dipper dredge was a vessel that used to dredge the canal. So the boats, when they had to ship cargo, they had to have it dug out to 12 feet or deeper. So we did this. And what we're doing is, one of the cool things is a lady handed me some pictures of my great-grandfather who worked on the dipper dredge. And he was working on the day I was born. And there he is, my great-grandfather. So I had a chance to, paint him and feature him in this mural, which made it awesome. So we got this little sepia to color thing going on, bringing out the guys who worked. It's honoring those who worked on the Erie Barge Canal, because it was the Barge Canal and it's / Erie now. So it's just a nice way of showing some of our great history along the Erie Canal.
And to bring it full circle, that mural that we just showed at the end of the slideshow is the same mural sitting behind you in the studio now, and it's ready for installation. You said in the next week or so, right?
Yeah, next couple of weeks. We got to work out the details with permitting. It's going on a Erie Canal building, so we have to make state building with it. It's right. In fact, the cool thing about this, you'll be able to look at this mural, and right behind it will be this dipper dredge. Yeah, it's not quite as blue and it's rusted out a little bit, but it's there, so people can actually see the physical presence of this and how large of a thing it was. I even had a story about a guy that would climb to the top of this and jump off into the canal. So how that's you hear some of these cool stories about when you start doing, some of these old timers come up to you and tell these stories. So, and
the canal is only like 6 feet deep, right?
Well, no, it's actually supposed to be 12 feet deep. Here's why our story is so important. There were 3 canals. Clinton's Ditch, which was only 4 feet deep. That was started, opened in 1825. In about 1850, the enlargement, they realized they needed a larger, wider, deeper canal to haul the goods. And that's where the mules were coming in. We're going to be doing another mural soon that will feature some of that era. And then they realized, Theodore Roosevelt realized that we needed to expand this. This is when shipping is still the cheapest thing to do. So, and the Barge Canal was opened in 1918. And that's it turned in more of a pleasure craft. So people with their kayaks and boats go out in intercoastal, so they can go up and down the coast and share it, but not so much transporting goods anymore, although I think it would be great if they did. So that one's supposed to be 12 feet. Like I said, they may have to get this dipper dredge running again to dig out some of the sediment that's fallen in the canal.
Right. So just as a teaser, because we promised, I'd like to show one of your time-lapse videos. Which one do you want me to show first?
It doesn't matter. It just shows you, one of these guys, maybe the sepia thing where it shows there's no heads, and it just shows you how you work. And you're always changing as you move along. I like working with my friend Corey Reynolds because he has such a good eye. That's a little bit off. We better darken that area up, or his hand's too big, or it's just, a great way to bounce off each other ideas of how to do things, or mixing paint the right way and stuff like that. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And your process is great too. I think a lot of people will be familiar with the term, but you are somebody who's very heavy on kill paint. So you'll see in this video, I think there's a bit of a hard rock sound effect to this that might be coming through, just for anyone who's listening along. That music is from the video. So blocking in.
Yeah, this what we're showing here is how it just shows you how we started just with a blank canvas of a mega board and kept painting and painting. Near the end, you don't see a lot of changes because it's getting to the detail work, the shadowing. And we actually did that barge with snap line. You just with chalk, and you get that visual that really helps you find the vanishing point, which is very important. In fact, the next mural we're going to do totally with the vanishing point. It's got like 8 vanishing points going. Now, what we found out is at the very end we used the projector to put the tugboat in. And what we found out, because you've got a dark background, you have to contrast. So we, in Photoshop, made a white line around the boat and then just trace that. Then you go back and you block it in ultimate blue, and then you go in and add some of your shadowing later. So you just keep working on it. And then you have times where you just sit back and go, you sleep on it. Sometimes I'm sitting here, like last week when we were talking, I'm going, wait a minute, I forgot a shadow here. The tractor's not in there. The John Deere tractor is not shadowed in the mural. So you go in, and obviously you're not doing detail because the waves kind of shimmer and stuff like that. So you can always find things you can correct it. Sometimes you have to have closure and move forward. So it's been an exciting process here. And we've been painting during COVID. We all wear a mask, social distance. So we got enough room here. We all spread out. So it's just been, I have to say, it's been incredible therapy for me to paint during COVID, because I'm very creative, and to have that outlet has been tremendous. And my friend Corey, he's this, like I said, fantastic. Another painter's been Betty Rose, has been helping us. Like the next one, we're going to try to wrap some veterans in and slowly move to this transition of a therapeutic a mural for veterans. Working with O Positive, they're working with us on that one. So I think you've had a feature with O. There's our flag. We painted this summer, and when we were painting this, it's like 20 by 40. People were beeping their horns as they went by. It was just, it made us feel good. And Corey, he lost like 8 guys in Iraq, and this, I can't say enough about what this meant for him to paint this, because it's tough. And it's like it's a healing process. Painting is therapeutic. That's all I can say.
Oh, absolutely. I was actually in an interview last week with the artist Alice Mizrahi, who completed a state-funded mural on Staten Island for the Department of Mental Health, and we were talking about the use of art with veterans. And I brought you up. I was like, hey, I'm speaking with Mark, who's now working to incorporate more veterans into his mural projects, because painting has such a therapeutic quality on those who are suffering with PTSD. It brings you into the moment. It brings you into a space of creativity and constructive creation. That I think some people who struggle with that type of mental illness have more difficulties being grounded in the present. And painting is a very present, active activity. You can't just, I guess if you're blocking in, you can kind of just go for it. But there's something about the focus and the mindfulness of painting that has that alleviation and that positive mental health aspect to it. And you get to see it firsthand. So I'm excited, if you don't mind sharing, what sort of ideas do you have in store with working with O Positive and veterans in the future on murals?
Well, O Positive is a wonderful model where they, provide healthcare and dental benefits for people that paint. Well, there's a lot of veterans who are suffering financially too. And this is a chance for, as we reach out, maybe we get more different doctors and that can offer services in trade for painting murals. But again, also trying to involve more, we reach out. We just had a nice networking session about Zoom call about 2 weeks ago, and we're going to probably follow that up again this week. So, for example, a thing that struck me is when you have people deployed, soldiers get deployed. I would happen to be witness my son-in-law going off to Jordan. And you see the emotions of the family members crying on the sidelines, waving flags, because they're not going to see the loved ones for 9, 10 months. And then you think back to the Civil War. Well, the same thing happened, but they boarded a train. And then when they came back off that train, many were missing limbs and many were missing off the train ride. So I really want to work on depicting that mural, of showing the time, even going back to the Greeks. You know, there's been reference to post-traumatic stress disorder back in the Greek tragedies. So this is the chance for us to show how important and that we have to embrace the folks that have been there and served our country and things.
Absolutely, and what a wonderful idea. I really look forward to hearing more from you about that project as it grows into fruition. In that sense, you're mentioning Corey is the veteran that joins you in the studio often, right?
Yes, and yeah, he's in one of those videos.
Yeah, I was about to show the other video. I think this one is with the figures on the side. Here, I'll give a visual reference for those following along. So the second video we're about to show follows along with the bookends of the mural in color. So it's been lovingly called the Sepia Murals. And one of the figures, as Mark has mentioned, is of his grandfather. So without further anticipation, here's the second video. Yet again, I will say there is rock music behind this, so you will hear music along with this video.
It's okay, it's YouTube music, so we won't worry about copyrights. But here we are. There's a sepia going in. And you can see as we layer this, the house, the guys come in, the faces come in. There's Corey painting. We put an outhouse in it, and there's a Jeepster. There's Corey painting. I'm painting my grandfather there. There's my great-grandfather. There's his hands, put his veins in. So that gives you an idea of, and the reason that they're separated, we only got 23 feet in here, and these would take up too much space. So what we did is we just had to match them occasionally. When it goes up, we'll match the particular walls. And I know we got to figure out shadows and stuff like that, but that's the limit. If we had a wall that was 60 foot, it'd be perfect. We'll just have them up side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're dealing with something that I think might be a different approach to murals than some of our muralists we've interviewed who work on site on a wall, right? Like, for example, going back to the American flag, this was completed on site. With the one that's sitting behind you now, you're working on panels. So you might have a section, but then when you put it up on the wall, you have to start to blend and bring edges together. And there might even be some of that when you install it too, depending on how your supports end up shifting with the actual installation. So it's a very different process than working direct that you know. And while nice because you can paint inside in forgiving weather in your own climate controlled studio, there's still this translation that has to happen when you give it its final installation.
Oh, I love painting in public, and we hope to be painting a couple more murals outside. So in fact, we're going back to fix, like you said, things don't last forever. So Winston's dream, it wasn't your paint, by the way. Your paint's solid. We painted on there it is, plywood, and then it rots. Some water got behind it and damaged it. So we would use this material Evelon, which is what we painted all the murals on at the 2016 mural, and we patched it up. So unfortunately, it started to snow in November, so we had to quit. And with this nice weather, Corey and I would probably go back this week and fix Winston Dream to the way it was in 2007.
And this is 2007 on the dedication ceremony.
Yes, those kids are all in college now. It's amazing.
So, taking a step back from process and the extensive number of murals you've completed, you shared a story with me, and you've already acknowledged it a little bit previously about your good friend, Noel Dobbins, and his involvement in Mural Mania towards the end of his life. There's something that we haven't spoken about with Noel is that he was an avid painter by your side on several of these projects, but he himself was overcoming a lot of physical illnesses. And I don't remember the name of the condition he suffered, but at one point,
Scleroderma.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Scleroderma.
Yes. And he was painting after having 3 limbs removed. And if there's anybody in the world that has a reason not to paint, it would be him, right? But he was there, avid, by your side. There's a video that's on YouTube you've sent me of him at the dedication ceremony with his daughters. So I thought we could close out our program by you giving a little background to Noel, who was one of the central figures in the birth and the genesis of Mural Mania, just because you've said so many magical things about him. I thought that would be great to share with our community, just because he was a source of inspiration behind Mural Mania.
Yes. So I met Noel at his dad's funeral. And he said, you know, everybody goes, what are you up to these days? Well, we just started this mural. And I got an email a couple of weeks later, and Noel says, can I bring my kids? And I said, of course. And then I'm going, what are we going to do? I mean, we got this mural. It's kind of getting near the end. We got, 5 to 8-year-old kids. And I said, let's paint the farmer's market mural. And there it is behind you there. And there's Noel painting up the pumpkin, but he painted with his kids. And I think the fact that his kids were included in this made it special. And he was there every Saturday when we painted and just back and forth emails. I wish he was around now. I need somebody to help manage all the social media, because he was on top of all this. I did the YouTube stuff. He would do let's get these communities rolling here. He sent me an email, and I still have Gmail, and I have that email that he talks about we need to do this. In fact, he talked about a veterans mural in 2007. We got to have a wall to veterans. And I mean, so it's all coming to fruition. And to sit there on that fence that someday we'll be world famous, and then we get this global mural conference a few years later. So it's a driving force, and it was 6 months of I'll never forget, and the energy and the passion that he exhibited to me and to others in the community, just to make our community better. I think we all want to make our communities rise up and be something special, and through painting we've been able to do that. And with the help of Golden Artist Colors. Whenever I said we're doing a mural with volunteers, I said, can you get some paint donated? And it would show up at my doorstep, and I go, thank you. And I know Noel's looking down upon us and helping those connections, because it's been numerous. Even after we installed that mural that we repainted from, in 2010, I get a call from the Scenic Network, and they want to do a special on Mural Mania in 2010. Right after we put this mural up, and I go, wait a minute, this synergy is too cool. So that's what's been special about it. So yeah, so even though it's been like 13 and a half years, it seems like yesterday, because it's always there. And I know his kids, they're out of college, or maybe one's still in college, and hopefully they can see this and appreciate what their dad meant to this area. So.
Well, Mark, thank you for sharing your story from the beginning of Mural Mania into its growth now. This began as a small community project and has now hosted the Global Mural Conference and is now progressing to collaborate with our good friends, O Positive, down in Kingston. So we're looking forward to hearing more from you, seeing more of your projects. We're also grateful because you're someone who was a prophet of our paint. You understand, because you have these public-facing murals, that they have to last, so you know how our paint holds up. And it's been such a blessing to have you here with us today, to speak with you about this history, and we look forward to hearing more from you soon, Mark.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say one last thing is, We didn't paint all these murals. Other artists did under the umbrella of Mural Mania, because like I said, that's important. So there's a lot of there's different areas that you can see the regional influence of a painter. Stacy Kirby up in the western part, Don Jordan, who's painted many of the murals around Syracuse, and Corky Goss from the Syracuse area. So by having all these and meeting all these wonderful artists and sharing the same vision, we've made this all come to fruition.
Indeed, it takes many hands and many artists, and you're just one part of it with Mural Mania. It's been a contiguous effort, 85 to now growing to 150. Mural Mania is one small part of this larger initiative. So we're grateful for your contributions, and let's keep the momentum going. Take care, Mark.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a nice day, everybody.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
That was Mark DeCracker of Mural Mania, speaking about his work with historic murals along the historic Erie Canal. He has started in Lyons, New York, and now we have 85 miles of murals from Fairport to Syracuse, growing from 85 now to 150. So feel free to follow Mark at Mural Mania with an _ after it. And if you missed our interview, you can go ahead and swipe over to IGTV, where you can catch our full interview, as well as our previous interviews in this Off the Wall series. Next week, just as a teaser, it is our last week of the Off the Wall series. So be sure to mark your calendars and tune in, because we're excited to be joining you one last time from Instagram Live here at GPW Mural Paints. In the meantime, take care, everyone.